You can call me crazy all you want. I had an absolute blast killing the last of the 4 Godwars bosses needed before I can start taking on next. The Zamorak boss, also known as Krill, will forever go down in my RuneScape history book for a number of reasons, and I can't wait to share it all with you today. Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and I'm on an adventure to improve my skills at RuneScape while hunting down these 4 items. Following a super simple rule set, I hope to grind my way into greatness. This is Getting Good at RuneScape. Finishing off the mini grind and next, I welcome you to the dark side of Godwars, the area controlled by a massive demon and the leader of the Zamorak forces, Krill. This gigantic demon is classified as a greater demon, so he can be killed on task, and is quite possibly the most entertaining kill I have yet to attempt at Godwars. Krill has 3 different attacks: a mage-based attack that can max a 30, a melee attack that can max a 46, which can also hit you a 41 even if you have Protect from Melee on, and a special attack that can max a 49. Krill also can drain the player's prayer, hit through prayer like his melee attack, and inflict poison damage, which starts at 16, so there's quite a bit going on here. He is of course accompanied by his 3 minions, the mage which can max a 16, his melee which can hit 15, and finally his ranger which can max a 21. I will not attempt any other names besides Krill in this video, but I'll give you bonus points if you can confidently say them. Krill's uniques are not the most expensive, but still cost a pretty penny. His main drops are of course the Steam Battle Staff, which is around 53k, the Zamorak Spear, which is 3.5 mil, the Staff of the Dead, which is around 9 mil, and his Zamorak Hilt, which is currently going for roughly 14 to 15 mil as I make this video in November of 2023, as it just had a huge surge in price for some reason. He does of course drop all 3 Godwars shards as well, going for the normal price of 160k and above. The only item I really care about is the guaranteed frozen key piece, as that's the last one I need before I can go take on Nex. The method I'm going to be using is the 5-0 method, which sounds intimidating at first, or at least it really did for me, but in the end I had an absolute blast figuring it out. Before we talk about that, I want to talk about Krill's area, which is north of the Godwars entrance, and forces a player to cross a broken bridge to enter his area. Once they arrive, they'll notice that the prayer is gone, which is nice to know up front. Before you jump over the bridge, you can camp outside the area with protection prayers on and waste all your prayer killing Zamorak minions in this area, but you by no means have to do this, but it's kind of nice to do if you're going to lose all your prayer anyway, but something to keep in mind. When you finally do show up at the Zamorak area, there is a very quick way to get KC here, and that's the 4 imps that spawn around here. The imps spawn in these areas and can quickly be killed with any weapon that you bring over here. I typically find 2 worlds to hop in between, killing the 4 minions in one world before jumping over to the other world and repeating until I have my KC. So with follower KC being super quick, I don't have to worry about getting ecumenical keys, and that just makes me so happy. Now the method I'm going to be using is the 5-0 method, which is showcased by Slay Brothers here on YouTube, and I highly recommend checking out that video. His video shows that this method can be performed with any weapon that is 5 tick, so he used a crossbow in his video, but you can also use the T-bow or even a shadow if you want to try that out. I've linked his video in the card at the top right of the screen, as well as the top of the description. He goes in way more depth of what I'm actually doing while in the room, and if I covered all of it here like I normally do, this would easily add another 10 to 15 minutes to the video, and I don't want to make you sit through that. Instead, I want to cover the 2 really weird mechanics that allow methods like this to work. RuneScape is very weird, and the only thing weirder is the tricks methods like this use. Characters and monsters move in a very specific way depending on what they're doing, like aggroing onto a player and understanding what's in the room so they can path around it. We as players can manipulate that movement, and thus how the monsters in this game interact with us. This can be seen very clearly in most Inferno runs, as understanding path mechanics is fundamental to try to even attempt that challenge. Another trick methods like the 5-0 use outside of monster pathing is something called red X. When players in the game want to move around, we click on tiles in the game and a yellow X will appear. In very simple terms, that just means the player is trying to move to that spot, and everything like monsters react to that. However, if a player clicks on something they want to interact with, like a door, an agility shortcut, or an item on the ground, that yellow X turns into the red X. This tells the game that the player is trying to interact with that object, and the player may or may not need to move to that location before they can interact with it. When a monster is trying to attack the player and the red X occurs, weird things tend to happen, and 99% of the time the only thing that we care about is the monster stops pathing towards that character. It just completely locks itself into its current position. A great example of the red X method is at Baba at TOA. While the player is next to Baba, Before she attacks, they click on an object they want to interact with, stalling the monster and it no longer paths towards them. It is still trying to attack you, but it's kind of locked to its current position. This allows the player to force a desirable interaction between the player and the monster, and allows methods like the red X at Baba to work and this 5-0 method. In this video, we want to create a red X click when Krill is 2 tiles away from us. As most players know, when we are running, our character does not step on every tile in front of us. Instead, we skip the closest tile to us and we land 2 tiles away from our starting position. With Krill 2 tiles away, and we're telling our character to move that location while running, we instantly jump underneath him, so Krill has to path to try to land a hit. Since we're telling our character to move with a red X though, Krill is locked to his position, so the player can run instantly underneath him and he can't attack us. Because of the way Krill's hitbox works, we're also able to leave his hitbox area while having a tile distance, so he can't hurt us on the way out. As we leave his hitbox range, we attack Krill, thus unlocking him, and then we move away again, still creating that distance so he can't hit us. The tiles used in this video are very specific to help guide the player away with enough distance that we're still able to attack Krill, while making sure he passes a certain way to keep distance so he can't attack us. I know this is super complicated and really doesn't need to be understood to perform the methods that I just mentioned, but I wanted to leave something interesting so you can at least learn how some of these advanced methods work. If you do have questions about the method or whatever I just explained, you can leave a message in the comments and I'll be sure to respond to them in any way that I'm able to help you out. Again, what I'm actually doing in the room and the timing of everything is explained very well by Slay Brothers, so please go check out his video, as without it, I couldn't even be here attempting this at all. So with my really nerdy explanation out of the way, it's time to move on to the gear, and this is what I'm going to be bringing in. I have the full Armadillo set, the T-bow with dragon arrows, the Anguish, Assembler, Zamorak braces, Bandos D-high boots, and the Archer's ring. This method does work with anything 5 tick, so any crossbow will work completely fine as well. I later get a Greater Demon task, so I'll eventually swap this helm for the Imbued Slayer helm. In the inventory, I have the Ancient Ice Scepter, the Occult Necklace, and Blowpipe for minions and Follower KC. Following that, I have 6 brews, 9 restores, 3 ranging pots, 3 stamp pots, and 1 antidote plus. You can switch this antidote out for a Sandfuse serum, but the antidote works great for me, and you don't have to pay the ridiculous price that Sandfuse are going for. Finally, I have a teleport out, a rune pouch for blood barrage, and a hilt to get here. This is what I recommend bringing in for learning, and when you're comfortable with it, you can cut back on the brews for more restores if you like, or change it up however you want. My inventory does change a bit through the video like it always does, but this is the main starting point and what I eventually use when I start to master this method. For my starting collection log, I have 42 kills at the start of this video, but I forgot to take a screenshot, so it says 43. But all of these were done with melee years ago, so the 5-0 method is still brand new to me, and you know what to expect with that knowledge. The first trip was horrific. The second trip, I got a kill thanks to just bringing in a ton of food instead of extending the trip with restores, and finally getting my key piece. The third trip, I started to understand it a little bit more, getting 3 kills before dying, and trip number 4 is where everything clicked, and my life got a lot better from there. I finally understood the timing of everything, and trips started getting incredibly long. I even got spooned a Steam Battle Staff. Your boy just got the Steam Battle Staff. I typically had the chat closed while running around to make everything easier, so I have no idea what KC it is, but it's definitely spooned, and I'm definitely gonna take it. Before I hunt down a Slayer task, I sent one more trip just to make sure I knew what was going on, and just 2 kills into that. No way. Oh my god, dude, what? Oh yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. After finishing a few tasks, I completed 600 tasks in a row, getting a massive 500 point boost. It's time to start skipping tasks and hunt down the greater demons. There's no way I get a straight Krill Slayer task instead of a Greater Demon task. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've gotten a straight boss task, so seeing this was just super funny to me. Either way, a task is a task, and the Slayer helm just helped melt through this boss way more than I was expecting. At this point, I was just cruising through kills, getting yet another Steam Battle Staff, and... yes! Yes! So undeserved. Alright, so Slayer is definitely the way to go here. Once I finished up that task, it was time to do something very special. I wanted a really big task, and I really wanted to see a large Greater Demon task. So with 300 points to my name, I started blowing through these points. Really hoping to see this task sooner rather than later. Necreals. Oh. Looks like I'm gonna start Turiel skipping. Oh. In the next 2 hours, I started hunting everything that you can imagine that was awful. And Duradel was having a blast giving me multiple black demons instead of greater demons like I wanted. But eventually he did come around and I got my task. Yes. Yes, I got it. Oh my lord. After what felt like an eternity, I was back at Krill once again. He must have really missed me though, as the first kill back. No way! Yes! Oh my god! What is happening here? Yeah, seeing a Zamrak hilt. A few kills later, and the Veterans Achievement was completed. The next trip wasn't without fail either, seeing yet another battle staff. But something way cooler happened later on in this trip, and for those paying attention, it may make sense as to why I really wanted to get a Greater Demon task. Alright, this could be it. And I messed that up. That figures 99 Slayer on the scuff kill. Yes, it is done. 99 Slayer has been achieved. If we look back at my first video, uploaded 6 months ago, I had 98 Slayer, so you can say I was saving this for something pretty special. Riding on the high of the 99 Slayer, I was still having a blast at Krill, and I wanted to complete the Grandmaster task of Demon Whisperer, which is to kill Krill without his bodyguards hitting you. At this point, I played around a lot in the room and noticed something pretty interesting. If you start the kill on this side of the room, the mage and range minions don't auto aggro to you, meaning taking in my trusty rage set, I could freeze Krill and his melee minion and knock this out super quick. With that done, I decided to go back to the range as I was just having too much fun. 2 chirps later. Yes. Oh my god. I don't deserve this. I don't. Seriously, can you ask for a better task or a better boss? I was super scared to start this challenge as I knew I would struggle a lot to get the timing of things down, and I thought it was going to be a lot harder to master, but in the end, Krill will go down as my favorite boss here at Godwars, while also being the most generous. For the first time, my logs actually kept every kill here, so 146 KC was achieved while seeing 3 Zamrak Spears, 4 Steam Battle Staffs, 1 Hilt, and a single Godsword Shard 2. The tracker says it was worth 28.4 mil, however the GE says otherwise, as selling everything off I got closer to 31 mil. And of course we got 99 Slayer in this video as well. As I release this video, Leagues The Trailblazer Reloaded is coming out in just a few days, and I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get a full next video out before that starts up. I really want to camp next for a good amount of time to make it interesting for you, but it may just have to wait until Leagues is finished. With that said, that's all that I have for you today, so thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, it would mean the world to me if you liked and subscribed, so you can see what I take on next. I really hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and stay inspired. See you soon.